Most men still think that when a woman falls in love, the battle is won. They believe her loyalty is set in stone, her desire is everlasting, and her yes signifies forever. But the reality is different. Machiavelli would caution you that loyalty isn't a guarantee. It's a reaction. It's not about your gifts, compliments, or flowers. It's about your energy, presence, and strength. Cheating rarely stems from random temptation. Instead, it's often a calculated move, a silent form of revenge. Many men remain oblivious to this because they fail to grasp what truly motivates women. A woman can love you yet still betray you. She can share your bed nightly while planning her exit. She might smile for the camera while texting someone else. When that magnetic pull fades, she doesn't always leave outright. Sometimes she betrays quietly and instinctively, not from malice, but from a sense of disconnection. Machiavelli noted, men are driven by two main impulses, love and fear. If she no longer loves you and no longer fears losing you, you've lost her without realizing it. This discussion isn't fueled by bitterness. It's about being prepared. A man who understands why women cheat is a man who retains his identity while loving someone else. We'll delve into the 6 harsh reasons behind infidelity, driven by instinct rather than logic. Once you grasp these principles, you'll stop being blindsided and start crafting a presence that no woman would dare betray. If you've ever been cheated on or found yourself asking, "What did I do wrong?" Despite your loyalty, patience, and love, stay with me. What you're about to learn will transform your approach forever. Let's begin with reason 1. She no longer fears losing you. The gravest error men make isn't infidelity, it's becoming too convenient to keep. When a woman senses that you're already locked in, that she can do anything and still be adored, her desire wanes. It quietly fades because desire thrives on tension. It requires the possibility of loss. Machiavelli warned us in Pamurt, the prince. A prince should guard himself, above all against being despised and hated. What does this imply for you? It means that when you shrink yourself to maintain peace, when you go out of your way to be liked, when you allow her to believe that no matter her actions, you'll remain, you aren't nurturing love. You're stifling tension. A woman doesn't want to feel despised by you, yet she also doesn't want to feel she has complete control. When a man stops being a challenge, he loses his allure. Consider this common scenario. She complains that you don't spend enough time together, so you cancel plans with friends. You rearrange your schedule just to show her she matters. Initially, she may smile and thank you, expressing her gratitude. But weeks later, something changes. She becomes less affectionate, less invested, less curious. You're left asking, why is she pulling away when I'm doing everything right? It's because you've made yourself too accessible, too predictable, too safe. You've shown her that you will abandon your own needs just to keep her. That's when she starts questioning if a man who values her so much genuinely values himself. So, what's the solution? Don't panic or overcorrect. Instead, apply pressure in the right direction. Here's the strategy. Reclaim your time, your mind, and your mission. Pursue the things that ignite your passion again, with or without her watching. Establish boundaries when necessary, say no when it counts, and ensure that choosing you always feels like a privilege, not a guarantee. As Machiavelli would remind you, he who masters a city accustomed to freedom and does not dismantle it may expect its destruction. In modern terms, if you allow her to rule without limits, don't be surprised if she loses respect for the throne. A woman may admire many aspects of you, but she only remains loyal to the man she knows she could lose. Reason 2. She became bored with you without you realizing it. If complacency stems from safety, this issue revolves around boredom masquerading as loyalty. Most men assume women cheat merely for physical reasons, but what many women seek is emotional connection, a spark, a thrill, a feeling of being alive. When the man she's with grows predictable, dull, and repetitive, she may not leave. She simply seeks that emotional rush elsewhere. Machiavelli, who studied not just rulers but human behavior, stated, "The vulgar crowd is often swayed by appearances, and the world is largely made up of the vulgar." He meant people are attracted not to truth, but to what stirs them, what breaks through their numbness. A woman might appreciate your stability, but if your presence no longer evokes emotion, she'll look for it where it still exists. Imagine this. You come home, ask her about her day. She responds. You nod, eat, scroll through your phone, and sleep. No tension, no unpredictability, no shared challenges, just routines. One day, she meets a man who disrupts that monotony. He listens to her as if he's hearing her for the first time. He challenges her thoughts in a way that sharpens her mind. He introduces her to chaos, not through violence, but through unpredictability. Suddenly, she starts comparing, not out of malice, but because he made her feel something she hadn't felt in months. So, how do you lead without turning the relationship into a checklist? You infuse weight into your presence. You remind her of what emotional polarity feels like. You stimulate not just her intellect, but her soul. Here's the strategy. Stop being safe with your words. Ask her something that challenges her expectations. Disagree if you must. Make her think. Change the rhythm. Spontaneously take her somewhere new or engage in something bold without seeking permission, allowing her to adapt to your world once more. Your goal isn't to merely keep her, it's to remain unpredictable enough that being with you never becomes mere background noise. She doesn't need chaos every day, but she does need to feel emotionally engaged. If you fail to provide that depth, that tension, that polarity, someone else eventually will. Reason 3. You gave her too much power, and she lost respect for you. Relationships should be about connection, but many men overlook a crucial point. Connection without direction devolves into chaos. When you give her all the control, all the decision-making, and all the emotional power, she doesn't feel loved. She feels pressured, as though she's steering the ship while you follow. Regardless of how much she loves you, that dynamic makes her feel unsafe. Machiavelli believed that leadership fosters trust, and in relationships, that leadership must stem from clarity. Picture this scenario. You start asking her what to do for everything. What do you want to eat? What do you feel like doing? Is this okay with you? Initially, she responds, but over time, she grows colder because she senses your lack of strength. She feels like she's the one, in control, and that slowly erodes the polarity. So, what's the remedy? How do you regain your power without becoming distant? You stop deferring your decisions. You stop seeking permission. You stop following and begin leading again. Here's your next strategic move. When you plan something, make a decisive choice. If she challenges it, stay calm and resolute. If she tests it, don't back down. Set the emotional tone of your interactions. Bring structure where she brings emotion. Bring calm where she brings chaos. This isn't about exerting control. It's about providing her with what she secretly craves, a man who can lead without force, decide without hesitation, and maintain his power without losing his heart. As Machiavelli stated, a wise man should always follow the paths trodden by great men. In relationships, the path is clear. Lead with calm confidence or gradually lose her respect. Reason 4. She believes you'll never leave, leading to her loss of respect. There's a subtle shift that can occur in some relationships. It doesn't. Start with betrayal. It begins with comfort, which can morph into disrespect. Why? Because she no longer believes you possess the strength to walk away. She thinks, regardless of her behavior, you will remain. This belief is perilous. Machiavelli wrote, "Men are less afraid of offending one who inspires love than one who inspires fear." He recognized something most men today overlook. If people sense you won't take action, they disregard your boundaries, and that includes women. Think about this scenario. She begins talking to other guys more frequently. You notice her pulling away, becoming colder. You address it, but she gaslights you, insisting you're insecure or imagining things. You remain calm, patience in tow, believing this demonstrates your loyalty. But to her, it signals she can overstep boundaries and you'll still be there. So how do you respond without drama or begging? You don't argue, justify, or plead. You establish one clear standard. This is what I will not tolerate, and if it continues, I will leave. Then mean it. Don't shout it or repeat it endlessly. Demonstrate it through action. Here's a practical solution. Start making your boundaries clear, not through lengthy discussions, but through calm decisions. Cease tolerating behavior you wouldn't accept from anyone else. The longer you remain silent, the more she will push. She needs to sense that your presence is chosen, not dependent, and that it must be earned. When she realizes you can walk away without looking back, that's when she begins to respect your presence again. As Machiavelli would remind you, he who permits chaos to flourish unchecked should not be surprised when it consumes him. In love, if you allow chaos to grow unrestrained, don't be shocked when it devours you. Establish your boundaries, and if she crosses them, don't hesitate. Just leave quietly and powerfully without apology. Reason 5. You are no longer her top priority. Attraction wanes for one simple reason. You ceased being the focal point of her attention, and she stopped feeling the need to rectify it. Most men overlook the moment this shift occurs, as it doesn't begin with infidelity. It starts with a change in focus, fewer texts, less curiosity, diminished effort, and gradually, you transition from her main character to background noise. Machiavelli once stated, "Whosoever desires constant success must adapt his conduct to the times." If you fail to adjust to shifts in dynamics, energy, or rhythm, you lose influence without even realizing it. Picture this scenario. She used to call you after work, but now she scrolls through her phone in silence. She once sought your opinion, but now she makes plans without informing you. You notice the shift, but choose to remain silent, hoping things will return to normal. However, what many men don't comprehend is that if she prioritizes everything but you, she eventually forgets why she chose you in the first place. So, how do you reverse that without begging or complaining? Start by recognizing where her attention has shifted, not to control it, but to align with it. If she's diving into new interests, begin engaging with them. If she's shifting to a different rhythm, reset your own. Rekindle shared energy, not through coercion, but through leadership. Here's the strategy. Don't merely discuss us. Create new shared experiences. Plan something that surprises her. Take the lead again. Don't allow the relationship to morph into a routine she can place on autopilot. A woman remains emotionally present when she feels emotionally engaged, not through pressure, but through movement, vision, and shared experiences. If, after all that, she still drifts away, then you walk. Not out of anger, but from clarity. As Machiavelli would remind us, the wise man acts promptly while the fool hesitates, meaning don't wait for the breakup to take action. Lead before she departs. Reason 6. She wanted to feel desired again. Regardless of her strength or loyalty, there's one undeniable truth. Every woman wants to feel wanted, not merely tolerated, supported, but genuinely desired, seen, chosen, and admired. When that feeling vanishes, her mind begins to wander, not out of malice, but because something within her feels unseen. Machiavelli stated that love and fear drive people, and desire thrives in the emotional tension between affection and distance. When you become too safe, too soft, too predictable, that tension dissipates. Here's how this typically unfolds. Initially, you couldn't keep your hands off her. You looked at her as if she was a treasure. You made her feel chosen. Not just through words, but through your gaze, your energy, your touch. Months roll by, and you stop complimenting her, initiating touch, and flirting. The worst part? You may not even realize it. To you, everything feels comfortable. To her, it feels like rejection. So when someone else begins to notice her again, someone who flirts, gazes, and compliments, the spark you neglected to maintain ignites, and suddenly, betrayal doesn't feel like betrayal. It feels like revival. So how do you safeguard your place in her desire? By refusing to become complacent, by resisting the urge to let routine overshadow romance. This isn't about extravagant gestures or false passion. It's about genuine attention. Here's your next move. Every time you touch her, make her feel it. Whenever you speak to her, look at her as if she's still the woman you fought for. Don't wait for special occasions to flirt, tease, or claim her energy. Reclaim the physical, emotional, and psychological spark that first made her yours. Not because she requires constant validation, but because a woman who feels invisible for too long will inevitably seek someone who sees her. In your relationship, you are the crown. But if you fail to act like the king, don't be surprised when the queen forgets who you are. If you're still watching, it signifies you've chosen growth over losing yourself in the chaos. You're focused, you're moving forward, and now you're about to encounter the moment that alters everything. Prepare yourself. This next segment will ignite a fire within you. After this, nothing will be the same. Understanding these reasons isn't about fostering fear. It's about becoming untouchable. The man who comprehends the truth behind betrayal doesn't become bitter. He sharpens his edge. He doesn't dwell in suspicion. He operates from a place of strength. Machiavelli didn't teach men to harbor hatred. He taught them to see with clarity, without emotion or illusion, so they could act, not react. And that's precisely what you're doing now. You've ceased pretending that loyalty is eternal. You've stopped pleading to be chosen. You've grasped one vital truth. Loyalty is not a promise. It's a response to your energy, your edge, and your capacity to walk away. Women don't cheat solely out of lust. They cheat because something has shifted, because the fire has extinguished, because your presence has faded, and because they no longer feel your gravity. But now you know better. You understand that silence speaks louder than begging, that leadership isn't about control, but consistency, and that respect remains only when you uphold your boundaries without fear. From this moment on, you stay in motion. You lead with calm authority. You remain unpredictable. You make her feel your absence as much as your presence, and you never justify your standards. You live by them, because if she tests you and you falter, you gradually lose her. Yet, if she cheats while you're still pleading to stay, you lose something far more significant: yourself. So, rebuild, not for revenge, but for power. Not to validate your worth to her, but to remind yourself of who you are. Because once a man walks away with dignity, he becomes unforgettable. And the unforgettable man is the one she can never replace. That man is you. Now, a final message for those genuinely ready to transform their lives, for those prepared to detach from the 99% and engage in a different game. What I'm developing will alter how women perceive you and how you see yourself. It's on the way, so stay tuned. If this resonated with you, don't just keep it to yourself. Comment, even with just a few words. It helps you remember and may assist someone else in need. Hit the like button if you appreciated this content, and share it with someone who could benefit from it right now. Trust your instincts. We're all striving to cultivate clarity and strength within. So let's build resilient minds that won't break.